Welcome to the Awareness Angle, simplifying cybersecurity awareness. This is the podcast that brings you the latest cybersecurity news from the past week and gives you the security awareness angle on it. This week, we've got MITRE's CVE funding nightmare. We've got 4chan has gone. Windows recall. Do you remember that? That's back. We've got some Android issues, QR codes, and lots more on this week's Awareness Angle. All views and opinions expressed by either Luke or myself on this podcast are our own and do not reflect those of our employers. With me, as always, I've already mentioned his name, is my wonderful co-host, Mr. Luke Pettigrew. Hello, Luke.
Hey, Ant. How are you?
I'm good. Every week we pretty much clash on that, but
Yeah.
that's fine. Yes. How's your week been? Positive?
Yeah, it's been good. Short week for us in the UK.
Yes.
Bank holiday
Easter
tomorrow.
holidays. Yes. I went to Safari Park yesterday, which was lovely.
Cool.
Had a day off because the kids are off school, and we had monkeys climbing on the car, which was fun. The kids were very excited. We soon realised, though, that having a monkey on your roof is quite boring if you don't have a glass roof, because you can't see it and you know it's there, but everyone else is enjoying it apart from you. So, yeah, that was fun. Yeah. Right. Should we get on with the news?
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome. Right. This week, we open the show, and if you work in cybersecurity, you've probably heard of this because it was all everyone seemed to talk about yesterday on LinkedIn. CVEs that are produced by MITRE, and it seemed that their funding got pulled. Their funding wasn't renewed, and it was nearly a very, very critical moment for everyone in cybersecurity. Because they lost their funding and they would have ended up shutting, which if you don't know what CVEs are the identifiers that are given to vulnerabilities across the board. They submit them to MITRE processes them and gives CVE scores, and those scores are used to, organizations use those scores to define how much effort they should be putting into resolving those issues. So I think we've both been I've definitely been in meetings. I think you may have been in some of them where we've gone, okay, it's a CVE score of 9. You know, we need to deal with that. It's a CVE score of 5.5. It's probably okay. So, yes, due to, we talked about this on, I'm like a psychic. I think I predicted this was coming about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Because I'd read somewhere that someone had noted that new CVEs were slower in arriving. And it's because DOGE had, the efficiencies by the US government had done some questionable stuff with the staffing and the funding.
Yeah.
So why is it interesting? Well, without those, people wouldn't know what to prioritise. A lot of the tooling that we use, your CrowdStrikes, rely on the CVE database. I found a brilliant tweet that kind of sums up this. And I don't do a lot on Twitter. I think I found a link to this and it kind of stood out to me. So it says, so what just happened with the CVE program? MITRE drops a letter saying funding ends tomorrow. That's all the notice we had on this. Everyone panics, assumes no more CVE numbers. The community scrambles to organise. The CVE Foundation appears, positioned as a vendor-neutral non-profit. We all learn MITRE has 9,000 employees, $1.5 billion in funding, 16% in cybersecurity. MITRE clearly used this situation as a public pressure move, and it worked. CISA stepped in, extending the contract for another 11 months. Meanwhile, ENISA, which is the European version, is building its own EU vulnerability database. Things are shifting. What did we all learn from this? Trying to slim things down creates friction, and outrage is often used as a defense mechanism. But when there's an actual need, the private space will step in and fund it. That's how markets work. And maybe, just maybe, this whole mess will lead to a more sustainable and efficient future for CVE. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, it's
Some
it's an
interesting
interesting one.
things
It's
there.
kind of a silent backbone of the cybersecurity space. I think, like, a lot of people would, unless you work in this, you would have no idea what the last 5 minutes of this podcast have been about.
Yeah, no.
ENISA is the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity. So that contributes to EU cyber policy and helps prepare EU countries for future cyber challenges. So I think what we're seeing there is potentially a shift of power from America to Europe on that, if indeed they do end up stepping up and creating their own that is comparable. So
yeah, I just saw their website is live with vulnerabilities, and they've got like it's a beta phase at the moment. It says, I don't know how long it's been up for, but it's got like a their own ID and then alternative with CVE, and then a GSD. I'm not sure what a GSD is. I guess maybe it's another country. Let's have a look.
Is that ENISA's vulnerability database?
Yeah, the European one.
Yeah.
Interesting to see how that develops.
It will. It's going to be interesting because a lot of the tools feed into their database they use it as an intelligence source. Okay,
so it's seen. Sorry, GSD is a global security database, cloud security alliance, open source community.
Right. It's funny. There was a comment on. We obviously share some of this content on TikTok, and I shared something about MITRE's funding on TikTok, saying this was going to be a problem, and someone replied and said, "Not really. Microsoft will still release patches just like other vendors. CVE numbers by themselves are pointless. Only cybersecurity people use them with the people that fix the issues." It's kind of not pointless then, if the cybersecurity people use them with the people that fix the issues. It's kind of, and Microsoft are just, well, they're Microsoft, aren't they? So, yeah. Anyway, that was MITRE funding. Moving on, another legend of the internet appears to have gone and leaving a trail of destruction and all kinds of disgustingness in its wake. 4chan, which The Verge describe as the cesspool of the internet, is down after apparently being hacked. Forums aren't loading, and there's loads of rumours about leaks swirling around. If you don't know what 4chan is, it's do you know what 4chan is, Luke? It's always kind of passed me by.
I mean, it's a terrible website. It's kind of like a dodgy Reddit, right, or something. It's been around for a long time, though, right?
If you get banned from Reddit, you go to 4chan. Is that essentially like 4chan?
Probably.
I know a lot of conspiracy theories and rumors, and internet hell starts on 4chan.
Just Googled it, and it's launched in 2003 by a 15-year-old student. It's an image board website. It's basically similar to Reddit, isn't it, really? But kind of unruly.
But its tagline, 4chan's tagline, was "Only a fool would take anything posted here as fact." So, it was originally an image posting board. You'd have seen it with the images and all the comments in like code underneath. And Anonymous used 4chan for a long time to announce all of their movements. And there's other ones like 8chan. But the 4chan leak, so apparently there's unverified rumours of a leak, and it's said to include the emails belonging to moderators, and the moderators of 4chan are anonymous. And they've said that this could be that the forum has been running on long unpatched software dating back to 2016. That's
Wow.
9 years ago. Yeah. So I saw a post as well that claimed to have found Elon Musk's 4chan account, and it had a whole barrage of like his comment history and stuff like that. And obviously all of that's unverified. But if you're listening to this and you had a 4chan account, your details might be out there in the ether, depending on how well you hid your ID and stuff. I don't know. Maybe your world might come unraveled. But yeah, 4chan, it's some people will be devastated it's gone. Others won't really care. So I've never used it. I've read it loads for years, but I've never gone to 4chan. So
yeah, I'm surprised it's still around. I feel like it's probably just sort of got taken over by Reddit and other websites.
yeah, I mean, if they're running 9-year-old software, it's no shock, really, is it? No. Patch your software, guys. Right. Moving on from the cesspool of the internet. I got tagged in a post this week, and I came to post it. Luke and I have a shared document, so when we come across a story or some news or post on some LinkedIn or Reddit or whatever, we'll drop it in the document to talk about when we record. And I got tagged in a post on LinkedIn, and thank you, Lana McGill, for tagging me. But I got here, and Luke had already posted the story, and Lana had posted the add-on. So, Copilot, recall. Do you want to drive? Do you want me to drive? Go on, you drive.
I'll drive this first story, which is a recent one from BBC, 11th of April, which says that Microsoft have begun to roll out their Copilot Plus recall feature again. And so like a feature that is built into the newer version of Microsoft's operating systems with the Copilot program. And basically is monitoring and sort of saving, I think, like a screenshot or something, like a clipboard almost of everything that's been done on the PC, for your sort of own reference, I guess, in the future. But yeah, it got taken down a while back, paused back in 2024, and that sort of goes into the story I think you have. I think it was the UK watchdog, and then there was the ICO as well, talking about how it can cause a lot of problems for a lot of people.
So it takes a screenshot of a user's desktop every few seconds.
Yeah, seems to be.
Yeah.
And it does, but browsing history, files. I think, it's quite a strange thing. Don't know why you'd want it, to be honest. It's like a thing that I wouldn't use personally, but
yeah,
it's all stored locally as well, which I think was one of the big concerns.
So this was one of the concerns. It was all stored locally, and it was processed locally on the device as well, because obviously a large language model was processing that to give you something. But then, and this was why it was pulled, right? Because they announced it, and everyone's like, "Whoa, hang on, what's going on? This is a nightmare." So they pulled it, and now the feature is opt-in, and you could be told how to remove it. But the concern is that even though it's local on the device, everyone knows that what Microsoft track record is like, and it won't be long until it isn't kept on the device, and then it's used for advertising and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm reading the hardware requirements. It requires a Copilot Plus PC that meets the secured core standard, and I don't think there's going to be many of those.
No, probably not.
40 TOPS NPU, so it needs a neural processing unit. 50 gigabyte of storage space must be free, so it actually requires 256 gigabyte of storage space.
Wow.
And 50 gig must be free. And then it pauses once there's less than 25 gig of storage space. So there's a way to stop it if you can't remove it. You need to enable device encryption, but you need that, I think, anyway for Windows 11 now. And you need to enroll into Windows Hello to get it. So it's pretty tight requirements now, but those will be normalized, I suppose, going forward. But yeah, the concern was, and what I was tagged in, was a post that came out in May last year by Kevin Beaumont, who's runs a blog called Cybersecurity from the Trenches. And the article reads, stealing everything you've ever typed or viewed on your own Windows PC is now possible with 2 lines of code. And it basically calls Copilot plus recall disaster. And he says, I got hold of the Copilots plus software and got it working on a system without an MPU about a week ago. I've been exploring how this works, so we'll take a look into that. The overwhelming negative reaction has possibly taken Microsoft leadership by surprise. Consumer groups, ask your people, was an awareness person involved? For almost everybody else, it won't have. This was like watching Microsoft become the Apple Mac marketing department. It's great if you're a manager at a company with too much to do and too little time, as you can instantly search what you were doing about a subject a month ago. In practice, the audience needs a very small portion of Windows user base. Frankly, talking about screenshotting the things people in the real world, not executive world, is basically like punching customers in the face. The echo chamber inside Microsoft is real here. And oh boy, it's a rare misfire, I think. So he goes on to answer some questions. The data is processed entirely locally on your laptop. Yes, they've made some smart decisions here. There's a whole subsystem of Azure AI, etc. code that processes on the edge. Cool. So hackers and malware can't access it, right? No, they can. But it's encrypted. When you're logged into a PC and run software, things are decrypted for you. Encryption at rest only helps if someone comes to your house and physically steals your laptop, which isn't what hackers do. Infosteer the Trojans, which automatically steal usernames and passwords, are a major problem for well over a decade. And now these can easily be modified to support recall. But the BBC said data cannot be accessed remotely by hackers. They were quoting Microsoft, but this is wrong. Data can be accessed remotely. Microsoft say that Microsoft say only that user can access the data. This isn't true. I can demonstrate another user account on the same device accessing the database. So every few seconds a screenshot is taken. They are automatically OCR'd by Azure AI running on your device and written into a SQL-like database in the users folder. This database file has a record of everything you've ever viewed on your PC in plain text. An OCR is the process of looking at an image and extracting the letters. It's
That's a feature you want to turn off.
Oh, it is, isn't it? How do you obtain the database files? They're just files in app data in the new Core AI platform folder, but it's highly encrypted. Nobody can access them. Here's a few second video of 2 Microsoft engineers accessing the folder. But normal users don't run as admins. According to Microsoft's own website, in their recall rollout page, they do. So, yes, there's so much. This goes on. Like, I'm not going to read through all of this. The search is really, really fast. Kevin's managed to exfiltrate his own recall database. Everything a user has ever seen, ordered by application, every bit of text the user has seen, with some minor exceptions. Microsoft Edge in private mode is excluded, but Google Chrome Incognito mode isn't. Every user interaction, for example, minimizing a window, there is an API for user activity, and third-party apps can plug into it and also view and store data. And it stores every single website you ever visit. If you delete an email, WhatsApp, Signal, Teams message, it stays in recall. It's look, this goes on. It's a really, really interesting post by Kevin Beaumont. This was from last year, but I don't think Microsoft have changed it. I think they've just modified it, so or re-released it. So
Yeah,
it's opt-in, right?
To say it's opt-in, yeah.
So look, and I don't. You might see some real benefits as a user, right? I don't. I think this is slightly terrifying. I question whether or not, like, many devices probably capture this data already. Maybe Microsoft is just being transparent for once, but yeah, this I don't know why you'd enable it. If you work for an organization, they might enable it. If you find yourself with a nice new shiny Copilot laptop given to you by your organization, ask yourself, what do you do on that laptop? And if you do find yourself away on business in a hotel room at 11 o'clock at night, don't go playing games on it because they'll know. So, yeah. Yes, interesting.
Yeah,
Did you have anything else to say about that?
Not particularly, I don't think. Yeah, these are like new devices, right? But I guess over time, in a year or two, they'll be a lot more common. You're probably only able to buy these Copilot devices.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess right now it's more of a consumer concern. Obviously, like you said, there can be businesses that want to start using this for some reason, or they might just turn it on by accident. And yeah, people might start using it, and then all this stuff is just being stored and could be exposed at some point. But
I think there's an amazing awareness angle on this, because if you've got non-savvy, and this has just come to me, if you've got non-tech folk in your business, then they might be like, if they're going into Curry's, Best Buy, PC World, wherever, to buy a new laptop, the salesperson is going to be, have you seen the new Copilot PCs? It's got AI. And then someone's going to be like, oh, AI, yeah, I'll have some of that. That's amazing. And they buy this, not realizing the normal workflow when you log into Windows 11, people just next through typically anyway, because it wraps. Do you want this? It makes it all sound great.
Yeah, I wonder how exposed it'll be in terms of recall, opt-in. It'd probably be hidden away.
The minute hackers get hold of this data, you know that email that goes around, that's been going around for years about, I've been watching your browsing history and I know everything you've been up to, you naughty boy, and stuff. You know the email I'm talking about, the kind of sexploitation one. This is almost the gateway to them gathering that data.
Actually having it.
Like, this is putting it there on a platter for them to take. It's literally like, hi, we're Microsoft, and we're going to put all this really good data in a really crap place, so you can just come and scoop it up and abuse the user. So mad.
Yeah, the only thing it doesn't save, I guess, is your webcam.
Yet.
Maybe it does. Yeah.
Yet. It'd be like, what was I wearing on Tuesday? On Tuesday, you were wearing a black T-shirt. It's like, I always wear a black T-shirt. Look, might be worth doing some awareness around this if you're an awareness person, and letting people know about another worrying fact of, AI. It's slightly different, but this Microsoft feature, lots of cons, not many pros, it would seem. The what was I was just about to say something with this. It's kind of like Jurassic Park, isn't it? Like, they were so busy wondering whether they could that no one stopped to think whether or not they should. It kind of feels a bit like that. So, yes, worrying.
Yeah.
Copilot recall. Right, next one's yours.
Yeah, so the next one is a Google Android story. This one's Google clarifies what's happening with Android's Auto Reboot feature. So earlier this week, I think a lot of news outlets started reporting about this new feature that Google's rolling out, where it would auto reboot your device after 3 days if it had been locked for 3 days. Sorry. So yeah, if it's been locked for 3 days, not been used, it would automatically reboot it.
Right.
And that's the whole goal there, is to get the device into a more secure state, which is the BFU, before first unlock encryption state. So sort of similar to what was discussed earlier, but yeah, so it's like an added layer of security where your phone's going to be in that state, which is harder to access the stuff on it, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it seems to be a lot of news stories talking about how that was coming out. And I think there was some concern that it was going to be like a mandatory feature, but now they've sort of clarified it is an optional feature. So it's Google's advanced protection mode. It seems to be part of Android 16, but I did see something about pretty much every Android device that has like app Play services.
Yeah.
I think it was a Play services update that was supposed to be doing it. So it would be able to sort of add this to every sort of device, really. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I never really thought about it in that way, of like a locked device being more secure. But
iPhones have done this since last year. So Apple launched this with iOS 18.1. I remember there being a bit of news around it at the time, and it is to, like, if the device is inactive, on charge or not on charge, then it basically reboots, so it's in its like most secure layer, just like you've described with Android. So Android are doing a bit of catching up on this. With the iPhone, I don't think it's optional. I think it's just there. You know how Apple like to make these decisions for you. So, yeah, if the phone, I'm pretty sure it's there on iOS 18 already. So, yeah, it's interesting that, and it's nice that Android, they've obviously seen some benefits to it.
Yeah.
It's like,
interesting.
It's just like we said though, like once you log into a device, it decrypts the content. You know, that's why, like, on your first unlock, it takes a little, or when you boot up, it takes a little longer, you know. So it's interesting that, just like we've just explained with recall, it's like, oh, my device is encrypted. Not once you've signed in, it's not. So.
Yeah, no. It's, good feature, but optional for Android.
Yeah. It's one to tell your people about, I think, because there's definitely some benefits to it. And it's the type of thing that if people don't see those benefits, they might go, oh, I'm not turning that on. But actually, maybe it's in their interest to turn it on. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, you should turn this on.
Especially for work devices, I guess. Like if you have a work device in your drawer or something and you go on holiday, you don't need to take it with you. That you get broken into or something, someone steals your phone. But
a long weekend, man. Like, most people finish work today on a Thursday and aren't going back till Tuesday in the UK. So, if they've got a work phone, I suppose this was never a problem. Well, I suppose I was going to say this was never a problem when phone batteries were smaller, but it was, because, like, you go back 20 years and the Nokia would last days. Do you know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm surprised the battery would last long enough. It probably just turn off, which I guess does the same thing. But yeah, that's that story. I don't think there's much more to touch on there.
No, that's good.
And I had one more, which was a QR code. Phishing scams are up 14-fold in 5 years. So organized crime gangs who are behind these scams with these fraudulent QR codes are on the rise. So like we discussed before, we've seen many times. We did a video on it as well, but QR codes and predominantly like car parks are the sort of place for these to happen, where criminals are replacing the QR code with their own one, and people are going and paying at a fake portal and getting scammed and then getting a parking ticket.
If you are listening and you do want our free awareness video on QR codes, it's available on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@riskycreative. And you can find our QR codes video there. Sorry, carry on.
No, that's cool.
Shameless plug.
No, yeah, it's a good video, that one. But yeah, it's just something to be aware of again, that these sorts of crimes are on the rise. It says here about over the last 5 years in the UK, at least, Action Fraud have received almost 3,000 reports in total around these sorts of scams.
Yeah.
But yeah, so something to look out for is these fake QR codes being stuck over things.
You know what? I went to a car park last weekend. I went to the seaside in the UK, and I took a picture of this, and I didn't scan the QR codes, right? Because there's no need for me to scan the QR codes in this one. It's got everything I need. It gives me tells me what app to use, pay for parking using the My Permit app, so I can download that from my app store. I don't need to use the QR code to open up my app store and type in the name of the app. It's also got the web address there if I want to pay online. So it was nice seeing the QR codes so small. They look to be, I didn't check, I should have checked, but they don't look to be stickers, which is good. So yeah, overall, like, there's enough information on here so you don't have to use the QR codes. And in a situation like this, don't use a QR code. Just don't. Use the web address or go to the app store and download it directly.
Yeah.
That would be my advice.
Yeah, part of the story talks about a chap who scanned a QR code and was sent somewhere to download an app that was malicious. And within that app, he verified his bank details. And then, next day, £39 went out of his account. Luckily, it wasn't more than that. Could have been a lot worse, but I guess they're doing it small sums to sort of stay under the radar. And
I wonder if there is like
people.
Dear ChatGPT, what is the sum of money that people won't think about or won't notice? I wonder if there is a sweet spot in, enough to make it worth doing, but big enough to make it worth doing, but small enough that people won't notice.
Yeah. But yeah, it's something to look out for. It's not, I guess it's not just car parks. It could be anywhere really, but
yeah,
just be careful what you're scanning and double check the website. That maybe just don't use them. Like you said, it's probably safer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good one. It's amazing the increase on that. Like, I would have thought. I mean, it is from 2019 to 2024. So we did have the whole QR boom that happened with COVID, but they do seem to be everywhere now. I mean, there was a time when we wouldn't use QR codes, and then we started using QR codes. They have kind of just become the norm and acceptable now. But
yeah, they're convenient. But
watch our video on QR codes. It gives you some good tips on what you should tell. And you can have it. It's unbranded. You can share it with your population, share it with your people. There'll be a link to that in the newsletter. The newsletter, which I haven't mentioned already, the newsletter is weekly. It comes out with every episode, and it covers all of the topics we discuss in each episode and gives you the awareness angle on each of the stories. So you can subscribe to that on LinkedIn. You can go to LinkedIn and search for the awareness angle and you'll find the newsletter, or you can go to riskycreative.com and sign up to get it in your inbox on email. And we'd love some more email subscribers. We have loads on LinkedIn, 500 on LinkedIn, but we don't have very many on email. So go to the riskycreative.com, sign up for the newsletter. That'd be amazing. Thank you. riskycreative.com. Right. Should we run through the rest of this week's top security stories?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Hertz alerts customers to data breach involving personal information. Last week we had Europcar. This week, Hertz has confirmed a major data breach affecting Hertz, Thrifty, and Dollar brands after attackers exploited a 0-day vulnerability in Clio file transfer software, which was exactly the same as Europcar. Was it? Was that the Clio one last week?
I think it was Clio, yeah.
Yeah. The breach claimed by the Clock ransomware group exposed sensitive customer data, including names, contact details, credit card info, driver's licenses, social security number, and even injury-related records. This is another example of third-party software risks leading to mass data exposure. I was just about to raise this. Hertz have offered identity protection to all users affected and urge vigilance, whilst cybersecurity leaders stress the need for proactive patching and tighter supply chain security. If you've been a customer of Hertz, Thrifty, or Dollar for car hire, and those details have been exposed, I mean, what can you do? Contact details, credit card info, driver's licenses, social security numbers. I could get a loan. I could get a bank account. Check your credit report. That's what they're offering. Keep an eye on your credit report for any new credit agreements. Whistleblower org says DOGE may have caused significant cyber breach at US labor watchdog. A whistleblower has accused Elon Musk's tech team, US DOGE service, Department of Government Efficiency, of triggering a major cybersecurity breach at the National Labour Relations Board, potentially compromising sensitive case files. Daniel Barulis, an NLRB IT staffer, claims the group was granted unusually broad system access and that 10 gigabyte of data, possibly including union affidavits and proprietary business info, was exfiltrated in March. He also reported tampered login protocols, attempted logins from Russian IPs. Despite National Labour Relations Board's denial of any breach, Barulis says efforts to alert CISA were blocked, and he later received a threatening drone-taken photo at his home. The FBI and CISA have not commented what is going on over there. My God, it's like something out of a movie.
Yeah.
Next one, because wow. Chinese Android phones shipped with fake WhatsApp Telegram apps targeting crypto users. Researchers have uncovered a supply chain attack where low-end Android phones, mainly knockoffs of Samsung and Huawei models like the S23 Ultra and Note 13 Pro, are shipping with pre-installed Trojanized apps posing as WhatsApp and Telegram. Russian antivirus firm Dr. Web says these apps contain a Shibai Trojan that hijacks crypto transactions by swapping wallet addresses and harvesting images for recovery phrases. Around 40 apps were modified using LS Patch, and attackers leveraged 60 plus C2 servers and 30 domains. Campaign, active since June 2024, has netted over $1.6 million. A related malware strain, Gorilla, was also found to be under active development. See, Dr. Web, Russian antivirus firm, doing some good. Thank you, Dr. Web. And this one from the BBC News: scammers used fake app to steal from me in person. People are being scammed in person with fake banking apps. So fraudsters turn up to buy something, show the user a fake payment successful screen, and then walk off with the goods. But the money never lands in the seller's account. One man lost £1,000 in tools. Another lost a gold bracelet meant to fund a family holiday. And even a phone repair shop has been hit multiple times. These apps can look legit and are being downloaded outside official app stores, side-loaded. The advice, as if it wasn't obvious, always check your bank account before handing anything over. A payment complete screen isn't proof. So these are fake apps where you can fake, oh, there you go, it says payment sent.
That's
and then
crazy.
you're like, oh yeah, I see that. That's fine. Yeah, not a problem. Here you go. Here's the keys to my car that I've just sold you. Off you go. Like, you don't hand it over until you've received the money. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I don't want to be horrible. I realise I'm coming across exactly how I tell people not to come across. But please make sure you've received the money. Don't trust a random stranger with your gold bracelet or your tools. Please. That's the news. There we go. Right. Let's whiz through a few bits. Comments. I've got a bunch of comments. So we post content on TikTok. I kind of slice the stories down and take a hot minute, 50 seconds and chuck them on TikTok. And we've got a load of traction on TikTok over the past few weeks. One of our videos got 85,000 views. 85. Wembley Stadium, Luke, saw me and you talking about Windows 10 going end of life. Wembley Stadium, my friend. When you think of it like that.
They're probably all bots, but...
Probably all bots, but there we go. So just to give you an idea, some of the ones, the phishing scams. So we talked about Microsoft Teams phishing in last week's episode, and there was a bunch of comments on that. Who's trusting external Teams messages? Secondly, why would they have enough local privileges to run any unauthorized software? So having lots of users with privileges isn't unusual, and external Teams messaging is on by default, we discovered last week. So you shouldn't trust it.
Crazy.
But it's there. Yeah, what else have we got? We've got my company's IT tech guys call our work numbers and can open up a chat box on our laptops without us doing anything, and then ask for permission to take control. What else did we have? This is where PAM comes in, privileged access management. If you don't manage this, you are done. I think I'd agree with that. So Reload Networks said, I find a common one is people use LinkedIn to get a boss's name, create a personal email, send Teams messages to say, going to WhatsApp, you from personal number. So we did a scenario very similar to that, WhatsApp, which was email to WhatsApp on a deepfake video that Luke and I made where I used to work. Luke still works there. But yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Personal email address. So like luke.pettigrew42 at, you're not 42, luke.pettigrew at gmail.com. And then going, oh, I'm working from home today and I'm locked out of my account. Can you WhatsApp me? It's interesting. I had a comment on the SVG one. So around the SVG files containing malicious code.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Someone said, nearly got me panicking. I search for SVGs daily to recreate customers' JPEG artwork. Someone else said, it's annoying because SVG is very useful for its original intended purpose. But like odds, by being too versatile, it makes itself vulnerable. So, yeah. And then...
I saw something similar around PDFs. I think it was maybe it was a TikTok talking about PDFs and how versatile they are, and another thing to look out for. Could do all sorts of them.
If it's versatile, it's probably going to be abused. So, yeah. And then the last one from TikTok was on a short we posted about the army papers blowing in the street. Someone commented, "Oh, someone's in trouble," which is like, yep, they probably are. So yeah, yes, and the last one I'll do, the Shopify AI memo. So for Shopify sent a memo out to all staff saying, no, use AI, use AI, use AI. We were like, where's the mention of security? Azerbaijan 535 says, preach. So, yeah, absolutely. Right. Moving on. And this happened a few weeks ago. My authentication, it must be a time thing. It's just expired on Google. It must be a time thing. Hang on 1 second. I'm just going to reload my tab. Here we go. I'm in. Right. Awareness. Happening this week, UK Cyber Week, 23rd, 24th in Olympia, London. UK Cyber Week is at Olympia. I haven't been to Olympia in years. It's where InfoSec Europe, I'm sure, used to be at Olympia before it moved to Excel, and it's nice going back to Olympia. I saw Javid Malik said that it's nice going back to Olympia as well. So 2025 show's got 2 days, 2,000 plus cybersecurity professionals, 50 plus seminar sessions, and 55 speakers. So from an awareness perspective, no before or there, Bob's Business are there. That's kind of it on the big names. So yeah, there's not a whole load there from an awareness perspective, but it's nice to go along and have a look at these things and see what's there. I'll be going on the Thursday, so if anyone's there on the Thursday, come and give us a shout. Come and look out for me, or get in touch, and we'll have a look. I'm just going through the vendor list to see if there's anyone else of interest there. From an awareness perspective, no, I don't think so. No. So go along and say hi to Know Before, and any other security stuff. There's a few good talks though. I've seen that, so it's probably worth going and have a look at the event list. ukcyberweek.co.uk. Link to that will be in the newsletter. I did have one more bit of awareness, and I should have mentioned this right at the opening of the show. We are trying a new format, and we are doing some interviews with some people in and out of cyber that would benefit the awareness space. So released Thursday is our first episode, and it's an interview with Erin Gallagher. So Thursday the 24th, an interview with Erin Gallagher. She doesn't fish. She doesn't send any phishing emails. It's a choice. We used to not fish for a while because we didn't have a platform, but that was also a choice. But yeah, they've made a conscious decision not to fish. I had an amazing conversation with Erin, really, really interesting. And that's coming out Thursday. We've got loads more interviews lined up with some really interesting people, behavioral scientists, marketing, and a few vendors in the space. Just honest conversations around what they do and how they can benefit our world, really. So, yeah, we're going to release those as and when. No strict release schedule, but keep an eye out for those extra episodes that will be released Thursday when they're ready. If you've got an interesting story to tell, or you work for a vendor that you think people need to know about, or you're not even a security person, but for some reason you're listening to this, or you know someone that isn't a security person and you think they'd be really good, they've got a good story to tell that awareness professionals would like, get in touch with us, get in touch with me, hello@riskycreative.com, and let's see what we can do.
Yeah, cool. No, it's exciting to get those conversations out there.
I'm excited to see where it can go. Like I've got some really cool conversations lined up that we can talk about in more detail when they come. But the one with Erin was brilliant. Erin's great, and I've got some real kind of curveball ones lined up that are going to be interesting. So that's good.
Cool.
Right, I'm going to whiz on with this now. I've got last week you showed me a SMS message from the NHS hospital, and you challenged me to tell whether or not it was real or not. Right. I've got one for you, and this isn't one that came to me, but I saw this and I was like, I can come right back at you now. So I saw this on Reddit, okay, and it wasn't on a cyber, it wasn't on a security forum. This was on the driving forum, okay, Driving UK, a subreddit. What am I calling it forum for? So this is a letter from DVLA. It's on a headed license paper. So DVLA is Driver and Vehicle License Agency. It's got an address and reference numbers in the top right-hand corner, telephone number, website, and the date. And it says, "Dear blank, I've noticed that a driver's license issued to you shows incorrect/incomplete details. In order for me to amend your license, you will need to return it. I have enclosed an envelope for your use with my name and reference number, and when I have received your correspondence, an amended license will be issued to you. If for any reason you're unable to return the license, please state your reasons in the space provided on the enclosed reply form. I apologise for any inconvenience that this may have caused you. If you wish to discuss the matter further, please do not hesitate in contacting me on the above telephone number. Yours sincerely, Joanne Thomas, on behalf of Azra Milner." Real or
Right.
fake?
Well, I'm going to go fake, mainly because I feel like they would just void that license and send them a new one and tell them to destroy the old one. But
Yeah. So if we look at this, red flags, right? DVLA is a massive organisation, and for you to get a personal letter from an individual that's written in a personal way, I have noticed that a driver's license issued to you, like
straight away, isn't it?
straight away, like would it not go like there is an issue with your
our automated systems of
yeah.
yeah.
So you think it's fake?
Yeah, I'll go with fake.
You go with fake. Okay. Well, I also bought fake initially, and I have an update to say it's actually real. So the user, the person on Reddit said, I would never have thought to receive so many comments. That's why I think it's fair for me to put an update about this situation. Yesterday, they called the DVLA asking for clarification, and here is the result. As weird as it sounds, this letter is legit. I don't blame anyone for thinking that this letter was a possible scam because it seemed fishy for many different reasons. However, the guy I spoke to on the phone told me what the mistake was on my driver's license, a minor detail on the back of the license. I want to thank everyone who left a comment in my previous post. So again, everything we said about the NHS text last week goes with this. Like this, it's lovely that it's personal and polite, but it's just out of place for that organisation, isn't it? It's
bizarre.
It kind of feels like this needs to refer a user to a online portal to like view a message, or like gov.uk, you do it for tax stuff, and it kind of feels like this should feed in there. Like we have an issue we have identified an issue with your driver's license. Please log into gov.uk to find out more information. Your driver's license will be invalid in X amount of time if you do not do this, or something like that.
Yeah. Just thinking, I don't see why surely they would be issuing a different number on the driver's license. But or they could invalidate the one he has and they have and just send him a new one. I don't see why they need to return it. When you get a new driver's license, you renew it. You're just told to return it, actually, aren't you? But
the interesting thing with the comments on that Reddit post,
that's all one of them.
completely, like they are literally polar opposites. You've got people going, no way is this real, I don't believe you. You've got people going, yeah, it's real. Like no one is convinced at all.
A lot of people say like they would have just binned it.
Yeah.
But there's one of the comments saying about the OP is trying to test people, and they're going to use this as like a scam.
How do I know? How do I know if this phishing letter is going to work? I know. I'm going to ask Reddit.
and then update them, telling them it's genuine. So
look, we'll put a link to that in the newsletter, but I think it's a really interesting one to share with your colleagues because there's a real message around how to authenticate legitimacy with that. Like one of the comments said, I hope you didn't just call the number on the letter, because that could have also been malicious. Like Google, he says he found the number on the Gov website. So it's like, great, go to the true trusted source and then get the number from there and then validate that way. It's, again, it makes our job as awareness people, it makes it really hard, doesn't it, when there's stuff that's a bit flaky flowing around.
Yeah.
Let's see what we'll bring next week. Right. I had two more things. I'm going to save that one till next week. I want to tell you quickly, and I want to show you a really short video. And this isn't very long. So 1986 was an interesting year, right? In 1986, Chernobyl happened. which was obviously bad. You had Challenger, which was the space shuttle that sadly went into the air and then blew up, and all the astronauts on board sadly passed away. Another thing that happened that I only found out about this week, and it's not actually cyber related, but there is a cyber angle to this. Have you ever heard of Ohio Balloonfest 86?
No.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So in 1986, Ohio wanted to improve its image.
Okay. I've seen that. But
You've seen it. Yeah. So essentially, they attempted a world record attempt to release 1.5 million balloons into the sky. Okay. And the record had been taken a year earlier by Disneyland. And they were like, no, we want to prove our city's amazing. And Ohio was trying to change its image. So they did Balloonfest 86. And the idea was that they would have over 1.5 million helium balloons, and they would let them all go. Well, they did let them all go. They had to let them go early because there was a weather front moving in. So they had to get them up, or they couldn't like postpone or cancel. So they had a massive net, a net the size of a whole block, and they filled it with helium balloons. And people were just filling the balloons and letting them fly up because they were getting caught by the net. And then they let the balloons go. And, well, what happened? The balloons flew up into the air, and then high winds came in and a high-pressure weather front came in. And the balloons ended up getting blown, like, everywhere. The balloons ended up coming back down. They thought the balloons would go up and then just pop or disintegrate. But no, because of the high changing pressure, the balloons all fell down to the ground, causing mass mayhem. An airport was shut for like half an hour because of balloons, and apparently the runway ended up full of balloons. Roads were closed because cars were crashing, one, because balloons were landing in the street, but also because people were looking up at all the balloons in the sky. So there was loads of accidents reported.
Yeah.
2 fishermen went missing on Lake Erie the night before, and this is what the water looked like. You can't, if you're not watching on YouTube, there's basically the water in Lake Erie is just full of balloons, and they all look like heads. So they're there looking for 2 lost fishermen who were later found dead, sadly. But this really disrupted the rescue efforts, because the Coast Guard had to call the search off. The reason I bring this today, it sounds all like really unrelated to security. Someone had a great idea and didn't think about the impact or the consequences. And I think we see this so often with security. Someone comes along and thinks this tool is amazing and doesn't stop to think about the security implications that come with it. I feel like an awareness person wasn't around the table when they were planning Ohio Balloonfest 86, because they would have gone, hang on, 1.5 million balloons in the sky. Like, have you thought about the planes? Have you thought about the roads? Have you thought about what people might... No one thought about what could happen, which is what awareness people kind of tend to do. So that was, I saw that and immediately was like, I bet an awareness person wasn't around the table when that was discussed. So,
yeah, I mean, maybe they were, and they just went ahead anyway.
maybe. Someone's like, nope, we're doing it because we've got budget for it and we need to do it. It's fine. And that's where you're like, well, here's the risks, and you're owning the risks if it's going to happen. Interesting. Ohio did get the world record for the largest balloon release ever, and it was in the 1986 Guinness Book of Records. But then in 1987, Guinness removed that, and they said, we're not doing any more balloon release record attempts because too many people got hurt and it's not safe. And that's not even considering the environmental impact of all of those, like the plastic pollution in today. Can you imagine? Like, it just wouldn't happen. But it's not that long ago. So yeah, and Disney did it the year before. So yes, there's a nice example to use to your security, the rest of your security team. Tell them about the balloon festival and why it's important that awareness have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
Right. Go on. You
That's cool.
You've got one or two more.
Just one for this week.
Okay.
You can bring it up on the screen. It's just a TikTok I saw. Yeah, it's basically a you can call them an influencer, but they're like a British doctor GP person. You might have seen them. They're quite popular on the platform. But basically, yeah, they got deepfaked.
Oh wow! Is this Healthy Life UK?
So that's the company that. Yeah. So this chap here, Dr. Karana, I think his name is.
About something that's happened to me, and I've received hundreds of messages over the last week from people telling me about this problem, and I can see this being a major problem for a lot of people going forward. I came across a podcast interview of me promoting a product for high cortisol, and I'll play it for you now. Feeling tension and pain in your shoulders, that's also a sign of high cortisol. Is your hair thinning unexpectedly like mine did? That's high cortisol too. And the solution, just take 2 capsules of moringa every day. Right now, they're running a spring sale where you can get it for half the price. This kind of sounds like me and basically does look like me beyond some of the weird lip movements. And if you didn't pick it, this is a deep fake. The science is completely wrong, and those are words that I've never said. This is the real podcast where I was talking about women's health and endometriosis. And this company, I think based in the UK, ran it through AI and digitally manipulated it to run ads. Unfortunately, after asking them if they could stop using my likeness and intellectual property for commercial use without my consent, which I believe is illegal, they just blocked me. This is very worrying because someone who doesn't follow me or know me might believe this to be a real advert. And if they think it's coming from a doctor, they might be influenced to buy the product for a health reason. And if the product promoted is something untested, unregulated, and dangerous, it could lead to major harm.
That's mad, isn't it? It's
we've spoken about this before, almost with the celebrities endorsing something, wasn't it? It's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, companies taking someone's likeness to promote something to make money or scam people.
I mean, if we ever get to that point, I'm going to be kind of flattered. You know, you've made it when someone's deep faking you, but
yeah, it will happen at some point.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was quite convincing. Like you're looking at it on a small screen. It's not the highest quality footage. The microphone's obscuring the mouth somewhat. You know, it is interesting, and that's where it's really important, isn't it? That you really listen to what's being said and the words and the message. Like, does this actually sound like something this person would say? But then if you don't, I recognise him, but I can't say I wouldn't know who he was, but I recognise him as like a medical person. So there might be straight away there's some trust built there, some authenticity. That's quite scary.
Yeah, no. Something to look out for on social media as usual.
Do you want to do your other one?
Deepfakes in AI.
Oh yeah,
we could quickly drop it in. Yeah, it's just an interesting video I saw about. You might have seen this already or heard about it before. About it's like a Linux feature where you can bring up a bunch of screens to look like you're a cyber hacker or monitoring something. But as far as interesting, maybe for awareness people for like a mock-up scenario.
Let's have a look.
So you need like a Linux machine.
That's awesome. Yeah. I like that.
So if someone's making a video of their own, maybe they want something on the screen.
That's really cool. Yeah, like just run Linux on a little USB. Run it from a flash drive or something like that if you're allowed, and then run that command. And if you're doing a video with a hacker in a hoodie, or you're doing a video and you want someone to look like they're hacking, that's really cool. Yeah, I could see a lot. My mind's going now with ways to use that. Like if you're doing an event, you can have like a hacker desk in the corner that's just churning away on code, and tech types would be like, "Oh, what's that computer doing? What's that doing over there?" The natural inquisitive would be like, "Oh, what's that?" Yeah, it's a good conversation starter. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to just as well, like maybe some of our listeners know of a similar thing, or they might have some other tools they've used to make sort of mock-up screens like that.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to know if anyone's got something similar
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
It's always useful for when you're creating a video or a graphic or something. Something without any data, confidential data or something in there, so obscured and nonsense. But yeah, that was it.
Cool. I was gonna save this till next week, but I'm gonna drop it in now really quickly, just because it's a quick one. And this is a LinkedIn post I saw. I don't think I featured a LinkedIn post this week, and I normally always feature a LinkedIn post in the newsletter. So this was from Chris Cooper, who is enterprise level cybersecurity, risk mitigation, and digital compliance. And he is the founder of Rogemont Security. So I won't read all of this, I'll whiz through it, but I'll put it on the newsletter. Basically, this investment bank spent $5 million a year on cybersecurity. They were convinced that it was bulletproof. So they sent in a man wearing a 4-pound Hi-Vis jacket, and he tore it all down. And it's basically mid-tier British bank. They wanted to prove security was impenetrable. They had a big security budget, large internal team. They thought they'd pass with flying colours. So they did all the technical stuff, pen testing, perimeter testing, every trick in the book. And the bank held strong. They were like, yes, we're impenetrable. We're amazing. Technical controls were great. Next came the physical stage. So they sent a trained agent through the front door, aiming to get access. Reception did what they were meant to do, checked the visitor list, and refused entry. They went back a week later, and the agent walked in at a busy time of day when there was queues, phones ringing, and staff anywhere. But he wore a high-vis jacket with a fake ID clipped to the front. Using social engineering, he raised tension and made reception feel like they needed to let him through. And it worked. The receptionist waved him through. He walked in, found a loose network cable, connected it to his own device, and hoovered up internal data until morning. No alarms, no alerts, no one noticed. The bank's firewall was sound, but their people were the biggest vulnerability. When we're overwhelmed, we tend to default to the simplest decision. Just let them through so I can get back to what I need to do. You can have great policies. You can have top-tier tech. You can even test them both. But if you don't simulate pressure, stress, and uncertainty, you're testing an ideal world, not the real one. Even the most advanced security systems can be undone by human error. Equip your team to recognize social engineering. It's your first line of defense. There you go.
Wow.
I thought that was that was interesting.
Cool story, if it's real.
I'll put that in the newsletter, because if we did physical red teams before, where red team has gained access to the premises, so it's an interesting argument for that. Definitely, get some professionals in that know what they're doing, get them to come in, socially engineer their way in, film it, make some footage out of it, tell a story.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it if you're spending that much money.
Yeah,
to do that.
Yeah, people don't do this with the human. Like some people just system, an off-the-shelf product, boom, and then they get 1 or 2 people to just deal with the human stuff, which compliance would be just training and phishing. And it's so much more than that. Our jobs are so much more than that. Right. That is it for tonight. Thank you very much for listening.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much for joining. And yeah, Luke, it's been great. I just wanted to say we were number 18 in the UK Tech News podcast charts yesterday. We are today number 21 in the UK Apple podcast Tech News charts. 21. We're number 4 in Finland, which is amazing. And we're number 49 in Costa Rica. Hello, Costa Rica. We're in Austria, Poland, Norway. So thank you for everyone around the world that's listening to us. We really, really appreciate it. It's amazing. Yeah.
So soon we'll be Deepfaked. all over TikTok, wherever else. Facebook.
Yeah, we'll know we've made it when we're deepfaked. Yeah. Right. That's it. Have a great week, Luke.
And you? And
if anyone's going to UK Cyber Expo, come and say hi on Thursday. If not, I will speak to you all next week.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Catch you later.